Good evening, everyone. We're at the Summit, a beautiful facility here in Houston, Texas. I'd like to apologize, first of all, for the technical difficulties we had at the outset. Nothing else is going to go wrong for the rest of the night. I'm Jack Buck, and my partner and I are going to get right to work because we have a dandy boxing match for you. Big John Tate against Cookie Wallace, and my partner is Dr. Ferdy Pacheco. He's from Miami. He's been in every phase of the fight game, and they call him the Fight Doctor.
And it's a pleasure to be here with you, a man I've admired many, many years, Jack.
Thank you very much. Mr. Tate's undefeated.
Mr. Tate's undefeated and facing one of the crossroad fights of his life. He's got to get through this tough cookie in order to get to a higher plateau and in order to perhaps get lucky with a shot with Ali. We have in the audience Herbert Muhammad. Herbert, as you know, is the manager of Muhammad Ali and is looking favorably at Tate. If Tate can get past Cookie, then he's got something to look forward to. He's fought 15 fights. He's won 12 by knockout. However, he's got to get past Cookie. Cookie's had 52 fights against some of the cream of the crop. He's had George Foreman. He's had Ken Norton. He's had Oscar Bonavina. And through it all, he's maintained a really tough attitude and one word: never say die. And so we're going to see a fight tonight, Jack.
John Tate is from Knoxville, Tennessee. Cookie Wallace is from Houston, so this crowd will be rooting for him here tonight. Well, we'll be back with the introductions and then round one and the action from the Summit in Houston, Texas. Well, as you see, both fighters and their handlers are in the ring, and Terry Lewicki is the gentleman who will be the ring announcer for our introductions here tonight. These are always anxious moments for these fighters, Dr. Pacheco.
Yeah, and they both seem relaxed enough, although at the weigh-in today, you saw that John Tate weighed 235 1/4, Jack. Did you think that weight a little unusual for him?
That really surprised me, because at 235, the folks will see after he takes off the robe, but he's very heavy-legged, and I'm wondering what that's going to do to his speed. Meanwhile, his opponent, Cookie Wallace, is down to 214, and so we have a decided, I don't know if it's an advantage or disadvantage. We'll have to wait and find out.
Well, with a cagey veteran like that, who is really down in shape and before his hometown crowd, I look for a very good fight from Cookie, who's been an erratic performer. Sometimes very good, sometimes not so good, but always straight ahead. Tonight, he certainly has his work cut out for him with John Tate, who is an Olympic medalist, who has won every fight.
I guess we should point out the size of the ring, because it will be a factor here tonight. It's an 18-foot ring. And Cookie, if anybody starts on the run, they're not going to have any place to go.
Well, it's a little phone booth, as we call it in boxing. They're fighting in a phone booth, which means with heavyweights, if you throw a right hand in one corner, you hit a guy on the other. So we can see a lot of action tonight. And
we had 2 left gloves for Cookie Wallace, and he insisted that he have a glove on his right hand. Tate insisted that he had a glove on his right hand. So they're getting another for him, and that's what's holding him up. And here's the gentleman I referred to a while ago, our ring announcer, Terry Lewicki.
Ladies and gentlemen, our main event tonight here at the Summit, scheduled 10 rounders between 2 heavyweights. First, fighting in the red corner, 6'2", 225 pounds. He is 24, 26-2 with 14 KOs. He has won his last 3 fights in a row. From Houston, Texas, Cookie Wallace. In the blue corner, 6'4", 235, from Knoxville, Tennessee. He is undefeated as a heavyweight, He was the bronze medal winner in the 1976 Olympics. He won against Johnny Boudreaux in his last fight here in Houston, Texas. 12 KOs, the fighting machine, Big John Tate. Tate. Your referee for tonight's fight is Mark Tesman.
Ferdy, I know that you're familiar with the referee, Mark Tesman. He's a very qualified gentleman.
He certainly is. He fought around. He was a well-known name in Texas, well-known in Florida. We all admired him down there. And he's done very good work as a referee. Worked an earlier fight tonight with a great deal of competence, cool, professional.
And we had a fight earlier that was taped. We'll be showing it to you later, but there's yet another live fight that we have coming your way here from Houston, Texas, the Summit. What a beautiful building this is.
Yes, it's a building somewhat reminiscent of the Astrodome, only much in dimension, much smaller. But it's a beautiful fight club. Wouldn't you say that this is just about the ideal condition for a nice fight club?
Right, and the fans all get a good look at it. This is the home of the Houston Rockets pro basketball team. And they had the Houston Aeros professional hockey team until they lost them a moment ago. Let's tune in the middle of the ring and see what we can hear.
In Texas, you know the boxing commission rules in the state of Texas. Let's adhere by them, have a good, clean fight. Let's keep your punches up, watch your head inside. As long as you have one free hand, punch inside, unless you're holding and hitting. We'll not have that. In the event of a knockdown, the boxer scoring the knockdown must go to the farthest neutral corner before I'll start counting. All right, remember at all times to protect yourself at all times, no matter what happens. When I holler break, I want you to step back clean. I don't be wrestling with you all night, okay? When I holler break, step back clean and come back in and box. Step back one step, come back. Any questions, fellas? No. Let's have a good one.
Ferdy, do you notice anything about the attitude of these two fighters?
Yeah, Tate would not look at him at all, and Cookie was trying to give him the Sonny Liston stare, which didn't work if he was looking at the top of his head. You got to look at eyeball to eyeball for that to work.
235 for Tate, 214 for Cookie Wallace, and this is a fight that Tate cannot afford to lose. That's looked like you might have popped him a little bit low right there at the outset.
Well, Cookie said he was going to come out smoking, and he certainly means what he said.
He's at a decided disadvantage with regard not only to the weight, but the overall size and the reach.
But right off the bat, he's working on the right side. He's working on the body. As long as he stays down there, he's got some kind of a target. If he starts to try to hook to the head, he's going to get hit by a counterpunch.
You can tell, even in the early going here, that this 18-foot square ring is very restrictive. There's going to be a lot of action in this fight. It's scheduled for 10 rounds. Not many think it's going to go that distance because Tate is a heavy favorite here tonight.
And Cookie's following his game plan of going right straight to the body the first round.
Tate, on the other hand, is very cool, head up. He's watching. He's a straight-up type fighter, not tucked away, and even when a punch is coming at him, he just remains very erect and looking for the counter-punching opportunity.
Tate still has a lot of the qualities of the amateur in him. When he stands straight up, he has no bending, forward, bobbing, weaving motion at all.
Some people suspect his right hand. They really don't know how powerful it is. His left is good.
Well, it's certainly scoring points.
One minute remaining. We're in the first round of the fight. John Tate, he's in the dark trunks. He's the taller of the two against Cookie Wallace. Less than a minute now. First round. Scheduled for 10. Sometimes that height difference is an advantage for a guy like Wallace. You get down and avoid those straight punches of John Tate.
Well, a cagey veteran like Cookie can get under the punches, but he also is getting right now hit an awful lot.
30 seconds remaining in round one. Counting down. It looks like he is the boss. He's not working nearly as hard as Wallace. opening round of this fight. Stay tuned for more boxing from the Summit in Houston. John Tate, the bigger man in the dark trunks. Cookie Wallace, his opponent, and Ferdy Pacheco. Tell them about the scoring system here in Texas.
Well, this is a 10-point must system, which means that the winner of a round gets 10 points and the loser gets down to as far as 7. To have a 7-point round, you have to virtually get killed. The first round was about even, but you could see that Tate had the advantage.
There's a good right-hand lead by Tate. And that might happen frequently with Wallace coming in as he does.
Yes, that's the price you pay for aggressiveness. If you don't come in punching and smoking like Joe Frazier used to.
Of course, you expect to get hit when you come in like that, and you hope that you can counter and do some damage.
Well, the way to come in is bobbing and weaving and throwing punches. He's not doing much of anything but coming in and offering himself for a target, which is a quick way to knock him. This corner, Leroy Carroll, the main man there, and Al Potato Pie Bolin have been telling him, weave, bob, come in throwing something. And he has not hurt him too well because he's not doing it.
He's doing what Tate is doing, standing straight up now and just lunging in with that lead punch.
Which, of course, is not good when you're facing a hard puncher like Tate.
With a good hand speed displayed by the fellow they call the fighting machine, Big John Tate. You can probably hear there are the people yelling in the corner, less than 30 seconds remaining in the second round now, yelling to Cookie Wallace, move, 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 and he better start moving. He's going to get torn up.
Cookie cannot stay and survive that avalanche of punches. He must put his head in his chest and keep punching away there, just like he's doing, but stick close to it.
Moving a little better now in the latter part of this round than he was at the outset.
Tate is a very well-coached man, has a lot of amateur experience.
Now we have 45 seconds remaining in the round. I got some bad information on it. You just can't sit there like that. Tate's going to pick him off. Be easy work for him.
That is a modified rope-a-dope, which is a rope-a-dope and you take all the punches in your face.
He's not that clever. He's not that quick, is he?
Well, when Ali rope-a-dopes, he puts his hands in front of his face and you can't hit him. He just spit up a mouthful of blood, unfortunately, in that corner. So that Cookie is starting to get busted up on the inside.
Pretty good right-hand lead, but it was fought off by Tate.
His legs are getting a little rocky now.
We'll be back with more boxing after these messages. This is round 3. John Tate, Cookie Wallace. I don't think Cookie Wallace knows he has a spit bucket over here in the corner, Ferdy. He's spitting on us down here.
Yes, maybe a comment on our commentary. Maybe he's listening to us.
You know, I talked earlier about the heavy legs of John Tate, and I noticed that Cookie Wallace is also very heavy-legged.
He's heavy-legged, but his legs are not responding to what he wants. After that beating on the ropes, his legs are very wobbly, like a drunk's legs, which is the sign of an old fight. After all, he's had 52 fights, but all of those have been really in the posture of an opponent. He's been taking some fearful beatings from people.
We're live from the Summit in Houston, Texas. And that's a big crossroads fight for John Tate. He just can't afford to lose this one. Doesn't look like he's going to unless he walks into something.
Well, I give Cookie every credit. He's trying very, very hard. He's in his face, and he's coming forward like he said he was.
Are you impressed with the cleverness of Tate?
Tate so far has fought a very intelligent fight for him. He's standing there landing what he wants to land.
You see that little light right hand a while ago? Doesn't seem to have much sock. He hasn't shown us a good right hand yet, Tate has.
He's punching very short, but very powerful. That kind of punching will knock him out that you just saw in a flurry, but he stopped. He landed a few good hooks, and if he just continued with 3 or 4 punches at a time, he would knock Coley out.
Less than a minute and a half remaining in the 3rd round, but am I right? His left, talking about Tate, seems to be a good deal better than his right hand.
So far, he's demonstrated it, but he hasn't thrown his right. He's looking to throw his right as a clincher.
Even that uppercut.
There's a straight right hand.
That was a pretty good one.
But he has been mostly left-handed fighter.
He's been pawing with that right hand, but picking him off pretty good as Wallace forces the fight. One thing Wallace said, I'm going to be coming all night. I'm going to be backing away. Less than a minute remaining in the 3rd round.
He's hitting him with every left hook he throws.
And he can't do the damage in the corner that he wants to do. He wants to pin him in the corner. He does pin him there, but then doesn't get anything done.
And Tate doesn't know how to tie up a fighter yet well.
These ropes, by the way, are very tight. And the fellow who knows how to use the ropes, less than 30 seconds now remaining in this 3rd round. The fellow who knows how to use the ropes will find them to be very appropriate here in this small 18-foot ring.
Yeah, a lost art, wouldn't you say, Jack?
Not many can do it, especially very few of the heavyweights. Coming down to the 10-second mark remaining in round 3. Stay tuned for more boxing from Houston, Texas. We're into round 4. John Tate very stoic and able to avoid those big rushes on the part of Cookie Wallace, who just landed a pretty good left hand, and he's taking it to him like he said he would, but at the same time there's a chance he's going to get picked off coming in as he is.
And he's getting more and more reckless coming in, and of course that's Tate's fight. Tate's got to do it.
Tate hasn't fought many people of outstanding reputation.
No, he hasn't, but he's had a good amateur career and a good Olympic career.
He can do some things, as you folks are seeing very early. We're in round 4 here in the Summit, Houston, Texas. The fans here are enjoying the fight. They're going at it pretty well. Bob Arum is the matchmaker. He put this one together and looking for a potential champion.
And I think he's going to find one in this series of matches. Very interesting concept that Bob's put together. Now, those are strong punches. Now, that's toe-to-toe action. You see very few clinches here. These two fellas are really putting on a good heavyweight fight.
I kind of think that Tate might be convinced now that he's not going to get hurt by Wallace, because he's been hit a few times and able to slip most everything that Wallace has thrown.
But I'm beginning to wonder whether Tate's not thinking, what does this guy need to go down? He's hit him some pretty hard shots. He's been hitting some hooks in there. Should have put him out.
There's a right uppercut, and that's one of the best effective weapons for a fellow who's coming in, as Wallace has been doing throughout this entire fight. I don't know how long he's going to be able to keep it up, but he appears to be in good shape.
It's in wonderful shape. I don't think I've seen Wallace fight this with this elan and this strength and this kind of determination since I've known him.
That's the fun of things here on Sports Special, to see a guy like John Tate, who might very well be fighting for the heavyweight title someday. Boy, he's picking him off, landing every punch he's throwing.
Tate is landing everything he's thrown right on his head. Cookie has taken this that well, I'll never know.
We have less than a minute remaining in this round 4, and at the end of the round, we're going to be able to close in on these fighters, give you a better look, tell you a little bit more about him. We'll show you John Tate, tell you about some of the people he's fought and some of the personal items about him. And Wallace seems to have lost a little bit of his early speed here in the 4th round.
And Cookie has lost none of his determination. He's hanging in there. He's making a fight. He's standing in front of him and taking everything he's got just to land one. You got to admire his courage, if not his lack of skill.
Coming up on 15 seconds remaining in this fourth round. But you're right, Ferdy Pacheco. He's taking 3 to land 1, and you can't do that for 10 rounds.
No, that addition doesn't add up to winning.
Well, some people said that Wallace wouldn't last 2 or 3. He's just lasted 4 here at the Summit in Houston, Texas. As we come to you live, and we'll study John Tate. What do folks say about him and his chances? How many more big fighters does he have to pass before he gets a title shot?
He's got quite a few, but you can jump, as Leon Spinks did, right to the big man. He's got Herbert Mohammed here watching him, and you can jump right to the big man. You see in there a team of people who have been working with him a long time. He's got a fellow named Colonel Ace Miller, who is his main man, who's been his coach and confidence since the Olympics. Cut man named Don Marshall, Ray Ingram, Whitey Webb, Dr. Robert Whittle of Knoxville, Tennessee, all the same part of an intricate team, sort of like we were with Ali when we started. All a team working together. It helps the fighter to know he's got a family that cares for him. He's got a wonderful family there in Knoxville. Everybody's bringing him along, and I think that he's in for big things in the heavyweight division, but still he's got to get past Mr. Wallace,
15,
who is still there.
15 fights for Big John Tate. His group calls him the fighting machine. In fact, it's been this guy, Cookie Wallace, who's been the fighting machine. Here we go into round 5 from the Summit.
And Cookie, at the end of every round, comes back with a great big grin to his corner.
Let's see if Wallace has changed his plans at all. Fired a straight left, which landed. Didn't seem to shake Tate. Missed with that one. It's a 10-round fight, and we're in round 5.
It's amazing, isn't it? He's a fighter this age. He's on his toes. He's bouncing around.
And how old is he?
That is a good question. This kind of experience you can't buy in a gymnasium. You can fight hundreds of rounds, but you'll never get this kind of experience that you get with 10 rounds with a tough veteran like Cookie Wallace. And by the way, it's not all sure that he can win.
Wallace used to live here in Houston, and now he works up in Dallas, but fights for the most part out of Houston. As you can see, he's a pretty good pugilist. He'll give you everything you want. If you're going to win, why, you better take him down.
Listen, I learned long ago it's 10 rounds. This is the 5th round of a 10-round fight. Cookie's still there, and he's getting happy. So let's see what happens.
I said earlier that Tate was gaining confidence because he had taken some shots. I think Wallace might be convinced now that Tate can't hurt him.
He's certainly standing there looking like he doesn't care what he throws at him. He's taking it all.
Now, we're looking at a fighter in Cookie Wallace who's lost 26 fights. Now, if Tate doesn't do something very impressive here, that's going to hurt his record.
Yeah, but Tate is really teeing off in this exchange. He's throwing that right hand we were talking about, not throwing with everything he's got in it. And he's hitting them 4 or 5 straight good shots with the right hand. If that hasn't softened him up, nothing's going to soften him up.
He may fool me, Ferdy, but I still haven't been impressed with his right hand.
Well, he's starting to throw it with all the authority that a heavyweight can muster right now.
Less than a minute remaining in the 5th round, and we've had plenty of action here. A little bit more than, or at least a little bit longer than anticipated. Everybody knew that Wallace would be coming after him, but folks thought that Tate would have put him away by this time.
Every night's a hard night in fighting until it's over with. There are no easy fights in fighting. When the fight's over with, that's when you know when you've had an easy fight.
Neither one is anxious to stay away from the other. He popped him with a pretty good right and then a left, and Wallace just hung right in there, not shaking at all. Just looking for a good one. Taking 3, taking 4, taking 5, and then when he misses with one, well, it makes it a bad 20 seconds.
Well, he said he learned true grit from Cleveland Williams, and I believe it, watching him fight.
Cleveland Williams is here tonight, former outstanding heavyweight from Houston. We'll be back with more boxing after these messages. Round 6 of a scheduled 10-rounder. Cookie Wallace very relaxed, not at all hurt, joking with the people in the corner over here.
Absolutely nonchalant, talking to the audience.
John Tate might be getting a little exasperated right now because he's gone after him with evidently everything that he has to throw, and he hasn't hurt Wallace at all. On the other hand, Tate hasn't been shaken. They're both taking the best. There's a good exchange by Tate.
That's good combinations of punches put together effectively and smothered him at the end of it. It's, Tate is really smoking now.
I'm sure on Sports Special next month in November in the Boston Garden, we'll have comparable action with Vito Antuofermo against Irish Mike Halacci. That should be a good one.
Every time Vito Antuofermo fights, that's all you see is action. That man is one action machine.
Well,
should be an excellent fight.
These two are giving us everything that we could have asked for. Depends on who you're rooting for. I imagine most folks are rooting for Tate to continue his climb up the ladder, but he's got his hands full.
Well, your heart has to go out to an old veteran like this that's given it all he's got. Your heart has to go out to a man who's doing as hard as he can. He's doing as good as he can.
He's got to slow down a little bit now. This looks like the pivotal round for him.
Well,
unless those punches aren't hurting him, they've got to be.
No, he's getting hurt now. His hands are coming down. The punches are landing very effectively and very solidly. His legs are going out from under him, and his head is beginning to bob.
He looks right now, doesn't he?
Yes, he's now hitting him like if he was hitting a heavy bag at the gym. But back comes Cooley with a punch just when it looks like it's time.
His legs are wiggling just a little bit.
Yeah.
He's really getting hit frequently now, and as has been the case for most of the fight, that everything Tate has thrown has landed somewhere. He hasn't wasted many punches. We're in the 6th round of a scheduled 10-rounder. And Wallace going to have to reach back. We have less than a minute remaining in this round. Wallace going to have to reach back for his second win.
He's going to have to reach back for his second face. He hasn't got much to... I cannot see how he can take this type of punishment much longer. Because Tate can punch hard, make no mistake about it.
He missed with that right hand. It fell underneath the chin of Tate, was absorbed without any difficulty. And he got picked off a little right uppercut there that jolted him a bit, but nothing has really stunned him. He's been worn out more than anything else.
Yes, he's just getting worn out. That's what it is. It's a Chinese water torture.
But with it all, he is almost gone. 6 full rounds. He took a pasting with that right hand from John Tate, perhaps the best right hand that he has thrown all night.
I like John Tate. I like his combinations. He's cool, and he's landing what he wants.
Stay tuned for more boxing action from Houston, Texas.
Break.
This is round 7 of 10, and with all the pounding he's taken, it would appear that Cookie Wallace might be in shape enough to go 10 here tonight, Ferdy Pacheco. He's in good condition.
He is. If he does, it's because Tate is merciful.
Break. Break. Let him go. Let him go. Let him go. Step back. Step back.
Tate doesn't seem to be weary at all. Earlier, we asked Cookie Wallace, when you get hurt a little, are you still thinking, I'm going to get him?
I'm still going to get him. I've been hurt many times. George hurt me. Ernie hurt me. Bob Foster hurt me. I could just go on and say these guys have hurt me, but still I've been able to bounce back because I have the desire, the determination to win. They just happen to catch me on 2- and 3-day notice.
So now you know how the man sounds as well as how he fights, but things haven't changed much in this round.
Right.
The same tempo, and you still have to admire Cookie Wallace. He's still in front of him. He's still trying to hit his haymaker there, and nothing's happening.
He's not pushing Tate back like he did in the early part of the going. It's Tate after him now, and he can't get off the ropes as he did earlier.
He hasn't got the legs to get away from Tate. Tate can stand there all night in this entire round if he wants to. He has no way to get away from him.
Tate took a pretty good left, but it was a glancing blow off the chin and landed a good left hook. And he is still content. He's patient. Tate's working on the body, trying to slow him down a little bit.
That's a mark of a good fighter. He knows he has him in trouble, and he's going to the body to punish him because once that goes, he's about gone.
Those left hooks were powerful hooks. Oh, and the best right hand. I know I said that earlier, but that was a popper, wasn't it?
It certainly was, and those came in because of the body attack at the early part of the round.
This is round 7, and we're wondering if it's going to go past this one right now. Wallace summoned some strength to throw a left hook, but it didn't do him much good. 1 minute remaining in the 7th round. It doesn't look now like Wallace can muster anything to hurt Tate.
No, and Tate is certainly open enough. He couldn't be that open with a good fighter and not get a terrific counter barrage. But he's just lost all care, all respect for Cookie, and is just punching away.
What do you think a fellow like Ali would be thinking if we were watching Tate here tonight?
Well, his mouth would be watering right now, I think, for either one of these two guys.
Wallace having little difficulty keeping his legs under him and keeping his feet moving.
I must say, at this stage of the career, at this stage of his career, I'm impressed with Tate. I think he's at a satisfactory level. He's doing very good against a cagey, very, very, very determined fighter. He's determined to survive. He's not looking to win the fight. He's looking to survive this fight.
So it looks like we're going to go longer than 7. We'll be back with more boxing after these messages. Eighth round live from the Summit in Houston, Texas, and let's see if the approaches are any different on the part of either fighter here. By the way, we have another crackerjack live fight coming up. It'll be a light heavyweight go.
Light heavyweight between Donnie Melicon versus Otis Gordon, two very, very strong Texas fighters, that should be a barn burner.
Tate gave him a little open glove that time, but the folks on this side and the referee also saw, and he warned him about it.
I really don't think that was necessary. With the kind of beating he's been administering him, he didn't need to rub it in.
See the 10-point must system. Have you seen Wallace winning many, if any, rounds here?
None whatsoever. I think he's pitched a shutout. I think Tate has pitched a shutout here.
The referee is concerned about Tate's use of the open left glove on the face of Wallace, who can't use any of that kind of stitching. Has Tate done himself that much good so far, even if he knocks him out here?
He's done himself a tremendous amount of good. He's gotten a lot of great experience against a cagey, determined fighter. I think he's done very well. He's had 15 fights. He's not at the top of the heap. He's almost at the top of the heap. He needs a lot more of these guys.
And this fight, along with other things, will show him that he has to continue to work harder if he's going to progress.
Yeah, he cannot ease up on a man like this, and he hasn't. I have to give John Tate credit. He's been working. He hasn't grabbed, he hasn't held. His remarkable absence of clinches and staggering around. You've seen an entire 3 minutes of fighting every round.
I wonder if anybody's counting the punches, how many Wallace has absorbed from John Tate, who has seldom missed here tonight, and that's one of his best selling points, is accuracy. He can hit.
And he's hitting often, and he's hitting right on the mark. I'm wondering what's holding up Cookie Wallace.
Does that detract at all from the performance of Tate, that Wallace hasn't gone down, or is that a tribute to Wallace? 1 minute
no,
remaining in the round.
I think that's a tribute to Wallace. I don't believe that has anything to do with it. I think when a fighter is determined to survive and is fighting as hard as Cookie is, you got to give him all the credit in the world. He's trying as hard as he can.
With it all, it appears if it goes 10, why Tate will have done nothing more than get down to about 125 pounds and worked up a good sweat.
Which is where he should be. He should not be 135. That's a disgrace.
In the 8th round of a scheduled 10-rounder, this fight put together by Bob Arum, the matchmaker, and he knew what he was doing when he put these two together.
And you'll see more of Tate, and you'll see more of him on television, because this guy is a tailor-made television star, if there ever was one. He continues to punch. He's strong. He's rugged. He doesn't lose his head. I think we've got a good future for John Tate.
And Tate is tentatively set for the December sports special, so you'll be seeing more of him, and hopefully right here where you are right now. Stay tuned for more sports special boxing from Houston.
Bell.
You see it, round 9, and believe it or not, Cookie Wallace was smiling as he came back to his corner after round 8.
I wonder if that's what's called a cockeyed smile.
He looks like he has enough left in him to go the final 2, unless Tate really unloads, and his long-range blows at the end of the 8th round were the best that he has thrown all night, but they didn't shake him up.
Round 9, and who would have thunk it? No, there wasn't a man in here that thought that he was going to stand up to that pounding that Tate's been giving him.
A real good fighter from the Dominican Republic, Jose Pena, showed up. He was to have been on our card, and he's headed for a title fight someday. But Davey Vasquez, his opponent, became ill and didn't show up, and then they couldn't find a suitable opponent for Pena, and it's a shame that you haven't seen him, but we know you're enjoying this action here.
Well, it was a shame. Bob Arum's on his way to Colombia to sign Ricardo Cardona for a title fight with Pena, and I think it would have been good to see him in action.
I wonder why Tate is inclined to use that open glove as he's
an amateur.
Frequently.
It's a bad amateur habit. A bad amateur habit, which they're going to have to cure him of.
There's no need for it at all. He is evidently winning the fight and landing every punch that he wants to throw, but still he's been gouging with the laces of those gloves, and those gloves have been worn a couple of times by the referee.
I think, Jack, he's very frustrated. He's done everything he can to this fella. He's hit him his best shots. Nothing's happened, and Cookie's still fighting, and he's still standing there. He's a little frustrated, maybe a little embarrassed.
Oh, man, is he? Oh, he's got to go. The referee might step in there at any moment because those punches were murderous.
If not, I don't know what he's waiting for.
Yeah, get in there. That's the way. He had to get in there because the fight had to end right there in the 9th round.
It was.
He's out. He's out on his feet.
He was out on his feet. There was when he landed 5 or 6 straight right hands. There was no reason for it to continue, and he did well to step in, if a little belated.
I think the referee might have been on the wrong side of the action to see what we saw, but he certainly jumped in there, and Wallace going to go down. He better get a stool in there and sit down.
What's the doctor?
He's very rocky.
They're going to call it a TKO, but it is a KO. There's no doubt about that. Purdy, you want to grab this microphone, get in the ring, and we'll find out if indeed Mr. Tate was frustrated and maybe embarrassed. We can watch the replay of the action which ended the fight here in round 9. And now watch this series of rights when he gets him leaning over the ropes. He gets his head back over the ropes. 2, 3, 4, then a left hook, and then another right. And this is when the referee probably should have come in. So he was 3, 4, 5, 6 punches or more too late getting in there, because we have, as I started to say, they're going to call it a TKO, but it certainly was a knockout. We'll be back with more boxing after these messages.
Immediately following, we're going to show you the 6th round light heavyweight bout. They'll be in the ring in 1 second.
Well, they have announced it is 43 seconds of the 9th round on the winner, Big John Tate. A lot of concerned people have been in to see Cookie Wallace, and evidently he's bouncing back, and he is all right, suffering no damage. And we'll turn things over to Dr. Ferdy Pacheco and see what Big John has to say about his win, his 16th in a row.
And here we are with Big John. Big John, he just about unloaded everything in the arsenal on him. He's a tough man.
Yeah, I would like to say a word first. I would like to say hi to all the people in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I would like to say hello to my mom in Detroit, Michigan.
Well, how did you find Cookie?
I just kept hitting with right hand, Then I came back with a left hook. Then another right hand left hook, and the referee stopped it.
You hit him an awful lot of times, John. Were you get a little frustrated, a little tired in there?
No, I wasn't getting frustrated. You know, I had a fight plan coming in here. My fight plan was to box him, and that's what I did for like 9 rounds. And late in the 9th round, I just caught him with some good punches, and that's when he went out.
Colonel, you have Colonel Ace Miller, who's very well satisfied, I'm sure, with his victory. How did you find the course of the fight? Were you happy with Big John?
I was very pleased with John. I told him going into the 9th round, I thought he had him in trouble, and I'd like to see him just decide to put him out and make up his mind that's what he wanted to do, and he did and got him out of there. Cookie fought a good, hard fight. He's a tough guy, and
was he much tougher than you expected? He certainly was. I didn't think anybody could take John Tate's punch for 9 rounds like that.
Well, we didn't really set up to do much damage except 1 round in there. John was really throwing some thunder at him, and I think that's what got him in trouble, but John was boxing him outside of that. The guy's got a very good, tough head on him, you know, I guess the best thing to say, and what else can you say? The fans saw.
All right, where do you go from here, Colonel? What's your plans? What do we do with John Tate from here? He's certainly, obviously, the cream of the crop, and he's going to the top. Where do you go from here? Do you get another tough old veteran like this? Do you get a named fighter? Where do you go?
Well, we got some named fighters in line. Of course, Bob Arum's in charge of that, and he'd be glad to release whatever he has in mind. We box for top rank, and he's got some big-name guys in the wings.
All right. Well, good luck to you, Big John. You've had a wonderful night, and I hope you go on to bigger and better things. And now back to Jack.
And Cookie Wallace was walking around saying hello to his good friends here in Houston, smiling, still a little wobbly after that pasting that he took, as you're watching right now. We invite you to stay tuned for more live boxing after these messages.